Okay, now, hopefully you have watched the first part of the review, but if you haven't, let me just do a quick resume. In the previous part, I talked about EA and Origin and what they have done to destroy yet another game that we wanted to be good. In this part, I will be talking about the actual game. So for example, I will be covering game engine, the overall look of the game, gameplay mechanics, sound, etc, etc. So please enjoy the video, and I will see you at the end. Okay, so let's start with the things I find positive about this game, the things that I actually enjoyed. Now, first of all, the sound in this game is freaking amazing. They managed to capture it perfectly. It is so amazing that you feel like you are in a Star Wars movie. Both the score and the sound effects are nailed perfectly. Now, I'm very strict about giving a perfect rating because in my opinion there is almost no such a thing. So I literally cannot give a perfect rating to the sound system only, have that in mind. But if I could, I just want to do it, but I just can't. I have to give the sound a solid 9. It's freaking amazing. And then we go over to the visuals. We haven't even begun. The Frostbite engine does a perfect work of recreating your favorite environments from the original trilogy. Hoth, Tatooine, and well, Sullust isn't in there on that list, but fuck it, Sullust looks incredibly beautiful. You can almost smell the ash in the air when you play on Sullust, and the immersion when you storm the rebel base on the Hoth level, that is incredibly awesome. You feel like you're participating in a Star Wars movie. And don't even get started on Endor. Endor is definitely one of the most beautiful forest environments I have ever seen in a game. In fact, the Endor level is so beautiful that I feel like we're not ready for it. Like, Endor, I can't even begin to describe it. I have some gameplay footage of it, but it's a blast to play on Endor. Just to look at the environment. That gives you a lot of immersion on its own. So for the visuals and the sound, definitely solid 9, both of them. They are incredibly amazing. No questions asked. They have done a job perfectly of recreating the Star Wars. In general, they have done a perfect job of recreating Star Wars. But now, let's get into the horrible hell that awaits us. In the previous part, we talked about how EA and Origin have completely raped this game to the core with the deluxe and the ultimate editions, those insane prices, what their future plans might be, what we should be worried about. That's what I covered in the first part. Now let's see what they fucked up in the game. Oh well, I actually don't blame DICE, because EA literally owns their souls. And every great game developing company that has done an amazing work with previous titles, as soon as their souls get sucked up by those assholes over at Electronic Arts, their newest products isn't the same as before. We can take tons of examples. First of all, Mass Effect 1 and 2, they had a 3-year deadline. 3-year deadline, and Mass Effect 1 and 2 are literally, they are my favorite games of all time. Almost. They are awesome. But then when Mass Effect 3 came out, it feels like it had the gameplay, it had the visuals, it had those amazing characters. But since they didn't have that 3-year deadline, instead they had a 2-year deadline to develop Mass Effect 3, that ending, fuck my life. Guess who was to blame? Not BioWare, that was EA. We can take Battlefield for example. Battlefield 3, amazing. Well, I think EA owned the DICE at that time. I'm not sure, but Battlefield 4, it was also cool. Maybe a little too much like Battlefield 3, but I didn't mind. It was a change. It was different enough for me. But then came Battlefield Hardline, which is basically a mod for Battlefield 4. Guess who's to blame? Not DICE. That was EA. Now they've done the same thing with Battlefront. Fuck these guys. I'm sorry that I get hooked up on hating on Electronic Arts, but I just want to make you guys aware on what a huge threat they are to the gaming society. Those who can actually figure this out and actually see the big picture, we are actually very, very scared of what EA are going to do next. This is serious business, guys. I'm not trying to make a big deal about it because it's so huge. Okay, what they managed to fuck up, which I noticed first, the Walker invasion mode. I've only played a few games. I played like 10 games of this, and I feel like it's still pretty unbalanced. Of these 10 games that I played, I only found the Imperials winning like, excuse me, they won like twice. So I feel like from the beta, they nerfed the Walkers. So now the Rebels are winning more of the Walker invasion games. And if this is true, then you have done fucked up way too good. I think you nerfed the AT-80 too much. But not sure, maybe I was just in bad luck. Nah, we'll see in the future. But here comes another. The E11 blaster rifle is still way too overpowered. This thing is the standard weapon for the stormtroopers, and I think it can be unlocked at level 5 or 6 for the rebels. But this hand cannon, this ultimate destroyer of worlds, if used in the right hands, this can literally turn the tide of a game. I know there's a lot of better weapons in the game, but trust me, for this being the starter blaster for the stormtroopers, it's way too unfair. This thing, in close quarter combat, or hip-fired, can be pretty lethal if you hit the right spot. It's pretty accurate when you try to aim on the move, so if you can get a couple of body shots and a headshot in with this from the hip, then your target is dead. But then you start to think about that if this thing is so awesome in close quarter combat, how come it's also just as awesome in long range? Think about this. This is the standard rifle, a assault rifle, if you allow that comparison. But this, yet again, assault rifle in quotation marks, can cross-map, snipe people. Do you imagine how versatile this weapon is? And my statement here is that it's way too versatile. Fuck this thing. This is one of my favorite blasters. I couldn't wait to use it, but then I see this thing is way overpowered. I mean, yeah, these are my main complaints. Unbalanced gameplay, some weapons are way too overpowered, and the flight controls are horrible. Horrible. The matchmaking is also bad. You're not paired up with people with similar skill. So newbies, this Christmas newbies, when you come into this game on Christmas Eve, once you get that present from your fucking parents, you're going to get slaughtered, because everyone is going to have so much better weapons than you are, and that's going to be a huge deal. That's basically my main complaints surrounding the gameplay. And one other thing before I stop talking and you guys can go on with your lives. The heroes or the villains, those, they have major flaws. For example, the Emperor, well, this is a minor flaw, but when he walks fucking dumb. But there is one villain that is overpowered as hell, and that is Boba Fett. Boba Fett is easily the best hero slash villain character that you can use in the game. Boba Fett has his jetpacks, he has his rockets, and he has his flamethrower, plus his blaster carbine that is way too accurate. He's best strategy. The best strategy to use when you're using Boba Fett is to go anti-hero. He is literally the hero killer. He can absolutely wreck Luke, Leia, or Han Solo, especially Luke. Luke doesn't stand a chance against Boba Fett. Boba Fett can simply fly away and dodge his attacks, and then use missiles in long range, plus his carbine if Luke doesn't have time to deflect them. But when it gets close and personal, he can just whip out his flamethrower and absolutely wreck Luke. Han and Leia stand a little better chance against Boba Fett because they have blasters and can take him down from a range, but since he moves so fast, it's very hard to hit Boba Fett when he moves around with his jetpack. So when it comes to Vader, I don't know, Vader is pretty cool to play as. He is slow as shit, but when he gets close, he's a tank. I feel like Luke is a lot better than Vader, and I feel that this is justified since the Empire has Boba Fett on their side, so I think Luke should be better than Vader. Luke is more fun to play as than Vader, because Luke has a very dark outfit, and he can, when you sprint with the heroes, they put out their lightsabers. And since Luke has a very dark outfit, he can blend in dark environments on Endor at night, for example, and then he can sprint way across the map without anyone noticing him, because he is a fast little fucker. And then he can come around, flank everyone, and then slash everyone down. I don't know. Those are my main complaints that I found. Some of them aren't a huge deal, some of them are. That's basically the game for you. And in the end, I feel like this game is not worth the $120 price for the Ultimate Edition, or even the Standard Edition for $60. I think this is more like under $40 game, because yet it somehow manages to... It's still worth it for the amazing immersion that I mentioned at the beginning of this long-ass video. So yeah. If you're a fan of Star Wars, if you're a fan of previous Battlefront games, I suggest pick this game up. If you're not, this is just not for you. So in the end, I'm gonna give this game... Oh shit, it's so hard to decide. The rating, in the end, is probably going to be a 5 or 6 out of 10. Probably a 6 on the PC, and a 5 on the consoles, maybe less. Because you're gonna need a powerful PC to handle these graphics at maximum level. What brings the game up are the amazing visuals, the amazing sounds and sound effects. Those are easily 9 out of 10s, top notch. The game is worth its money for those only. As of the gameplay, it's pretty much a Battlefield clone. If you are into Battlefield, then the gameplay is probably going to be for you. If you're into Star Wars, it's most likely going to be for you as well. What brings the game down to such a low level, it's basically its main... you can tell that not a lot of effort has been put into the actual gameplay, more the visuals and the sound. So that's what brings the game down. So in the end, I'm gonna rate Star Wars Battlefront a 6 out of 10. Thank you so much for watching. Please like this video. I know it became way too long, but this message has to get out there so that people that are unsure whether to buy this game or not, they need to know. Spread the word, people. Thank you for watching.